Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway once again, as today we are here for the Last 9 and Fast 9 shootouts for the Indianapolis 250 2022. Today we will crown the pole winner and also send 3 drivers home, and that is the first thing we will do today with the Last 9 shootout. The 9 slowest drivers from yesterday's single car qualifications will go out again. Each will run 1 lap, and the 3 slowest lap times of these 9 drivers will fail to qualify for this year's Indianapolis 250. Then we do it again with the Fast 9, and the fastest wins the pole in that session. But we begin today with the Last 9 shootout. These are the 9 guys who were below 27th on the grid yesterday, so 28th through 36th quickest yesterday. Justin Zajdel in the number 5 was 28th, Cole Raymond was 29th, Igor Barreto was 30th, Brock Nelson was 31st, Trey Smith was 32nd, Richard Kinghart was 33rd, Keith Kent was 34th, Chris Reynolds was 35th, and Eric Monaco was 36th. They will go from slowest to fastest in the session, so we will begin with Eric Monaco going out there on the racetrack first. Very interesting fact about 3 of these drivers in this year's Last 9 shootout, as they were all in the Last 9 shootout last year. Trey Smith, Igor Barreto, and Justin Zajdel for 2 years in a row, having to fight another day to avoid elimination. We'll have to see what they can pull off. Another thing to point out is that the weather is a little bit hotter today, 86 degrees, so the times are going to be a little bit slower today than they were yesterday when it was only 77 degrees. So that will definitely play a factor into how well these guys run. So you'll see those times initially, they're going to look slower, but we're really not going to know what a fast time is until we get a few guys out there on the racetrack. Let's go ahead and get started. I know these guys are waiting to see if they can make it into the show, but 3 of them will fail to qualify. We begin with Eric Monaco here to begin the Last 9 shootout. Here we go with the first driver out on the racetrack, Eric Monaco in the number 37. Should be interesting to see how his time compares. He was the slowest yesterday at a 41.919. Have to see if he can improve from that time today. But then again, like I said, it's a little bit warmer out here today, so the track's going to be a little bit more slick. So these guys are not going to be going quite as fast as they did yesterday. So with that in mind, Monaco will more than likely be slower here today than he was yesterday. However, it may be faster in comparison to the other 8 drivers in this Last 9 session. But either way, Ryan Durrani Incorporated, 2 of their drivers are 2 full-time drivers in this Last 9 shootout with Eric Monaco and Trey Smith. 218 across the line. He's going to hit 220 heading him to turn number 1. But like I said, we anticipate this being a slightly slower day because of the weather. He's going to minimize at 207 off the exit of turn number 2. And this is looking like one of the slower times yesterday, but with the weather the way it is, this may be good enough to lock a spot into the Indy 250. Minimizes at 209 off the exit of turn number 3. And 208 off the exit of turn number 1. So this might just be above 42 seconds across the line. Eric Monaco will clock in at a 41.799. It's actually faster than the lap he ran yesterday. So with that, Monaco may very well get into the show. We'll just have to find out and see. Next driver in line, the number 50 of Chris Reynolds. Next driver in line, Chris Reynolds in the number 50, looking to qualify for his first Indianapolis 250, but could not get a good lap in yesterday. And here he is in the Last 9 shootout. He was 35th quickest. Only driver who was slower than him was Eric Monaco in the number 37. And I have a bad feeling about Reynolds here. I feel like this may end up being one of the guys who fails to make it on. But we'll just have to see what the number 50 can do here for Dracoan Racing Enterprises. The other 2 Dracoan cars, Caleb Rose and Roy Ribbleton, will be in the show. Will their 3rd driver be able to make it in Chris Reynolds? Number 50 going to be across the line, 217. He's going to hit 218. He's going to hit 220 for a little bit, but that was a little bit slower than Eric Monaco was heading in the turn number 1. And a minimum of 206 off the exit of turn 2. So with that, this is probably going to be a slower time than what Eric Monaco clocked in. Maximum of 216 heading him to turn number 3. Going to exit turn 3, 209, and going to hold it for about a second right there. And the exit of turn number 4 is very critical. He's going to hit 208 there for just a split second. So this one will be slower than Eric Monaco, but the number 50 machine is going to go to a 41.891. So that's 29th overall. Eric Monaco just needs 2 more drivers to be slower than him, and Monaco will clinch a spot in the Indianapolis 250. Keith Kent, the next driver in line here in this last 9 shootout, the only true first-timer in this last 9 shootout as well. So looking to make his first ever start on the channel, but he's going to have to qualify his way in order for that to happen. He's also one of 2 Indy 250 only drivers in this last 9 shootout, the other driver being Igor Barreto. Keith Kent was 3rd slowest, 34th overall yesterday. His time yesterday was a 41.799, which is the exact time set by Monaco here today. We'll have to see how fast this 33 machine is. He is picking up speed fairly well here coming across the line. 219 across the line. He's going to hit 221 entering turn number 1. And this should beat both Monaco and Chris Reynolds. So this is great news for the first-timer of Keith Kent, looking to make his first ever start on the channel next Saturday. Very good speed down the backstretch. He's going to hit 217. He may even hit 218, and he will. This is comparable to some of the faster times we saw yesterday. So this number 33 machine will improve on the time that he had yesterday. And more than likely, he will be racing in Saturday's Indianapolis 250. Across the line, Keith Kent going to go a 41.620. That's a solid time right there out of the 33, and that should be good enough to make it on. He just needs 1 driver to be slower than him, and he will clinch a spot in this year's Indianapolis 250. Richard Kinghart, next driver in line. This is one of the bigger names here in this last 9 shootout. Richard Kinghart was one of the strongest drivers in the 2019 season. He's already won a race this season. He, along with Trey Smith, who's coming out next year, and Justin Zajdel, probably the 3 heaviest hitters here in this last 9 shootout. We'll have to see if they all can make it in. But the way this last 9 shootout is, it takes no prisoners. And right now, Chris Reynolds not looking too good there with a 41.891. But Keith Kent, who just went out there with a 620, should be good to go as long as Kinghart is slower than him. The Kinghart picking up speed as he comes across the yard of bricks here. Not going to be quite as fast as Keith Kent. He was 218 across the line. He will hit 220 there for an extended period of time. It's looking like this lap should be faster than Chris Reynolds, but it may be slower than Eric Monaco, so they may not quite be fast enough to make it into the show. Did it 206 off the exit of turn number 2 right there. And it's amazing just how close it is, really. The fastest driver and the slowest driver yesterday were separated by less than 0.6 of a second. That's how close these guys are here. Of course, it's equal ratings, but a slightly larger range in the ratings this year. That's why we had as much of a gap as we did. Of course, if you remember the first year we did this, there was hardly any gap at all between everybody, but then we wised up. Across the line, Kinghart going to go 41.835, right in between Monaco and Reynolds. Keith Kent is in the Indianapolis 250. Monaco just needs 1 more guy to be lower than them, and he will clinch, but Richard Kinghart right in the middle. That might be right where the line is to make it on to the Indianapolis 250 for 2022. And here comes probably the best driver in this last 9 shootout, at least in terms of the full season. 3rd in points, winner at Riverside earlier this year, Trey Smith, who was in this last 9 shootout for a 2nd straight year. He made it on last year. He's going to have to do it again. He knows the pressure. He's been in this situation before. We'll just have to see what the driver who has a very good chance of winning this championship can do here today at Indianapolis. Coming across the line, picking up the speed across the yard of bricks across the line. He's going to start out at 218. He'll hit 219. He'll hit 220. He'll hold 220 for quite a while. I think this is going to be faster than Kinghart, which may be good enough for him. If he's faster than his teammate Eric Monaco, he's in the show. It's going to be a minimum of 206. He just barely hit 206 right there, but not as long as Kinghart did, so this should be faster than the 97. The question is, how close will it be to Eric Monaco's time? Because he could clinch it right here if he's faster than the 37. Off of turn number 3 at 210 for Trey Smith. And through the final corner, he's going to exit turn number 4, 209. Wasn't in 209 for that long either, so across the line, Trey Smith going to clock in at a 41.792. Trey Smith is in the Indianapolis 250 as he barely edges ahead of his teammate Eric Monaco for the 29th position. And he has 3 drivers below him, so he is locked in the show for this year's big race. Next driver in line, the number 17 of Brock Nelson. His brother is already in the show, Brandon Nelson. We'll have to see if the 2 brothers can make it in. We know that Trey Smith's going to make it in, and Trey Smith's brother, Landon Smith Jr., is going to be in the show. Will we have 2 sets of brothers in this year's Indianapolis 250? We'll have to see if this number 17 can do so. If he's below Chris Reynolds, I don't think he's going to make it in. And even Chris Reynolds at this point at that 41.891. Just not quite what you want. Being the slowest driver out of 5 so far, and the last 3 failed to qualify. But we've seen stranger things happen before. Brock Nelson across the line, 218. He hit 219 across the line there. He's going to hit 221. Looking good here for Brock Nelson in the number 17, and it's not looking good for Chris Reynolds, who, assuming Brock Nelson's going to be faster right here, is going to push Chris Reynolds right on that line in 33rd. And Chris Reynolds would have to have Igor Barreto, Cole Raymond, and Justin Zajdel all be slower than him in order to make it on. That's not a place you want to be in if you're Chris Reynolds. But Brock Nelson looking very sporty right here. If he is faster than Eric Monaco at a 7.99, he will clinch a spot in this year's Indianapolis 250. And across the line, Brock Nelson goes to a 41.688. That's 29th. Brock Nelson is in the 2022 Indianapolis 250 with that run right there. So Monaco, Kinghart, and Reynolds have all yet to clinch a spot. Reynolds on the bubble for elimination with the next driver coming out into the racetrack. Number 80 of Igor Barreto, the 7th driver here in this last 9 shootout. And once Barreto is done with his laps, somebody is going to be below that red line and officially eliminated from this year's Indianapolis 250. Will it be Barreto? Will it be Chris Reynolds? Chris Reynolds is going to have a lot happen. He's going to have both Barreto, Raymond, all 3 for Barreto, Raymond, and Justin Zajdel to all be under a 41.891. Monaco still has yet to clinch. If Barreto is slower than Monaco, then Monaco will clinch a spot in the Indianapolis 250. If Barreto is faster than a 7.99, then Barreto is going to be in this year's race. Across the line, Barreto's going to almost hit 219 across the outer bricks. He will not hit 221, but he stayed in 220 for quite a while right there. It's not looking good for Chris Reynolds. This may be it for the number 50. And no 206, minimum of 207 off the exit at turn number 2 right there for Igor Barreto in the number 80 machine. And Barreto's going to have a good shot here at clinching a spot in the Indianapolis 250. He was in the last 9 shootout last year and looks like he's going to get out of it again. As long as he's faster than a 7.99 right here, he'll clinch his spot into the big race. Coming across the line, Igor Barreto going to clock in 41.743. Igor Barreto is in the Indianapolis 250 for 2022. And Chris Reynolds has been eliminated from contention in running this year's Indianapolis 250. He will fail to qualify for the race. The 8th driver in this last 9 shootout, full-time driver Cole Raymond, who finished 2nd in the Grand Prix a week ago, and now here he is with a shot at missing the Indianapolis 250. If he goes below an 8.35, he will fail to qualify for this year's Indianapolis 250. If he goes above a 7.99, he will lock his spot into the big race. And if he's in between those two, it's all going to come down to Justin Zajdel, who is the last guy. Another thing to point out here, these guys are getting a little bit faster. Went from the slowest driver yesterday to the fastest driver yesterday, so that's not a good sign for Monaco, Kinghart, and Reynolds. These two guys, Cole Raymond and Justin Zajdel, were both faster than all of them were yesterday. And Cole Raymond is definitely going to be faster than all those guys. 2:22 heading into turn number 1. And I think this is going to push Richard Kinghart out, and Kinghart is going to fail to qualify for the Indy 250. This is a really fast time out of Cole Raymond right here. He came ready to go. So how about this for the first timer? Going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250. This is a wicked fast time compared to everybody else. This is going to be the 28th speed. He's going to start alongside in that 14th row for the Indianapolis 250 tomorrow. No doubt about it. Only unless Zajdel happens to be faster than him, but Cole Raymond was really fast across the line. 41.474. Not even close. So Cole Raymond is in the Indianapolis 250. Richard Kinghart has failed to qualify for the Indianapolis 250 in 2021. And it's going to all come down to this, and this is interesting. I mentioned that 2018 Riverside race a lot, because that's Justin Zajdel's only win in the Haas IndyCar Series, but that was almost, and in Monaco's eye, it should have been Monaco's only win in the Haas IndyCar Series. Well, it won't be both of them making it into the Indy 250 this year. Only one of them can do so. Justin Zajdel has to beat a 7.99 in order to make it into the race. If he's below Eric Monaco's time, then Eric Monaco makes it in. So this is going to be very interesting. Richard Kinghart and Chris Reynolds have already failed to qualify for the Indianapolis 250. Going to be 3 full-time guys who failed to qualify for this race. We'll have to see if the 2019 champion can, in fact, make it on right here for Mobil 1 Grattan Autosport. Of course, Zajdel, like I mentioned, one career win in this series was his first ever start, but since that first start, all the way back over 4 years ago, Zajdel has failed to go back to victory lane in this series, and for a second straight year he is in this last 9 shootout. He was in this situation last year. He knows the pressure. He's got to do it again here today, beat a 7.99, and he's in the show. When Monaco posted that time, I thought he was going to be good to go, but these guys have been... They've been ready. They've been coming up with some times that have matched and compared to yesterday's times. Cole Raymond's time, as far as I know, that would have put him in the Fast 9 yesterday, the 4.74. But a very critical moment, a very crucial moment here for Justin Zajdel and his opportunity at making the Indianapolis 250. But it's either going to be Zajdel or Eric Monaco making it onto this race. Across the line, 2:18 for Zajdel. Oh boy, this is going to be close. Zajdel was 2:20 entering turn number 1. He's 2:11 off the exit of the corner. If they tie, now that's a big question. I'm going to have to look at the points. I should have had that prepared and ready. If they tie, it will be the tiebreaker on points, not on where they qualified yesterday. That would have initially given the advantage to Justin Zajdel. But if they happen to tie right here, it's going to be on points. 2:09 off the exit of turn number 4 for Justin Zajdel. It's a very slim chance they will tie. We'll see what it is right here. 41.810. Eric Monaco is in the Indianapolis 250, and the 2019 champion of Justin Zajdel will fail to qualify for the 2022 Indianapolis 250. That right there is the biggest name to fail this race in the 4 years we have done this format. What a heartbreaker for Justin Zajdel, but Eric Monaco is going to get into the race by the skin of his teeth there by 11/100ths of a second. And what a story there. Justin Zajdel failing to qualify for the Indianapolis 250. Just barely under Eric Monaco right there. And Eric Monaco got in by the skin of his teeth right there. He held that time. He was the first driver to go out and was on the bubble essentially the entire time. But he will be the 33rd driver to qualify for this year's Indianapolis 250. Cole Raymond is going to be the driver who starts 28th in row number 14. Keith Kent and Brock Nelson will make up row 15. Igor Barreto and Trey Smith will make up row 16, and Eric Monaco, Mr. Irrelevant, in row 17. But very relevant to Justin Zajdel, Richard Kinghart, and Chris Reynolds, as those three drivers will fail to qualify for this year's Indianapolis 250. What a heartbreaker for those drivers. Kinghart has won a race this season. Zajdel, a past champion, and Chris Reynolds, another full-timer right there. They will not be running in this year's Indianapolis 250, but 33 other drivers will be, and we will have to see who wins the poll. Let's go ahead and get to the Fast 9 shootout, but first, a little preview of what is coming up this summer here on AG the channel. The Wawa Pro Series Season number 2 coming up in just a couple of weeks. And we're definitely excited to get Season 2 of the Wawa Pro Series underway. Kind of the unofficial replacement of the Cup Series in a way, but unique point system, 30 cars in the field. We're going to do the sprint races for each race again, so essentially 50 total races. Going to be a lot of fun with the custom cars on the next-gen mod, so just excited to see how it all goes down. It'll be starting in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm hoping, and we will make this official within the next couple of days, that we will do the sign-ups this coming Wednesday night right here on AG the channel. Should be excited to see, definitely will be excited. I am excited to see who will be in this year's Wawa Pro Series. Hopefully those guys who missed out on the Indy 250 will get a ride next season and try to get some wins over there in the Pro Series. But hey, we're on to the Fast 9 shootout now. Now it's time for some fun. See who wins the poll for the Indianapolis 250 and gets awarded 10 points towards the championship. Of course, 10 points for the pole sitter. Second place gets 9 points, 8 points to third, and so on. Colin Cropley qualified in the 10th position yesterday, so he gets 1 point towards the championship. But these 9 drivers going for the pole in this order. Ethan Lewis was 9th quickest yesterday. Then Elijah Gordon was 8th quickest. Brennan Wilmington 7th quickest. Ace Garcia was 6th quickest. 5th quickest was Jesse Turner. 4th quickest was Zack Winkle. John Anders was 3rd quickest. Scott Upton was 2nd quickest. And Gary Carelei was the fastest driver yesterday in single car qualifications. One of those 9 drivers will lead the field of the green flag in Saturday's Indianapolis 250. Who will it be? We're going to find out right now. Let's go ahead and get the Fast 9 shootout started here. Ethan Lewis, first driver out on the racetrack. Here we go for the number 11 of Ethan Lewis, last year's Indianapolis 250 champion. Last year he qualified 26th and still won the race. This year he's going to be qualifying much higher than 26th. Could end up winning the pole position for this year's Indianapolis 250, but excited to see what Ethan Lewis can do this year in this great race. This number 11 will have a good opportunity at going to victory lane for the 2022 Indianapolis 250, especially considering we're expecting this race to not have quite as much passing. There'll still be plenty of passing, but it will be difficult, especially if we get a long green flag run to work your way through the field, and it may come to just a few drivers in Saturday's big race. 2:19 across the line. Of course, these times will be comparable to those that we had in the last 9 shootout. 2:11 off the exit of turn number 1, and off the exit of turn number 2, a minimum of 2:07 for Ethan Lewis. So this is probably going to be around the 41.6 range for the driver of the number 11. But the good thing for these 9 drivers is they do not have to worry about failing to qualify for this big race, because they will be starting top 10 regardless of how fast they are in this session. Ethan Lewis did hit 2:09 a little bit off the exit at turn number 4. Across the line, he's going to go 41.676. Have to see how that compares to the other 8 drivers here in this Fast 9 shootout. Next driver in line, Elijah Gordon in the number 42. Second driver here in the Fast 9 shootout, Elijah Gordon. The only driver in this field who ran in the first ever Indianapolis 250 when it was the Indy 200. 7 years ago. Max Newworth won that race. That was an exciting finish, an exciting race right there. hopefully we're in store for another great event on Saturday. This will be Elijah Gordon's 5th Indianapolis 250. Of course, he won the Grand Prix on, well, not yesterday, Saturday, but the Saturday before that. Last weekend, he won the Grand Prix, so he's coming into this event with a lot of momentum. He's already won another race at Richmond on the oval. We'll have to see if he can get the pole for the Indianapolis 250 here today. Across the line to 18. He's going to barely hit 220, but this time is more than likely going to be slower than Ethan Lewis. But beyond the fact Elijah Gordon's going to gain some points here towards the championship for qualifying inside the top 10, even if it may not be a pole position for the driver, the number 42. And you know, for NS Racing, they only have 2 of the 3 guys who attempted to qualify in this race. Their other full-time driver, Richard Kinghart, is not going to be in the show as he failed to qualify. The Indy 250 only driver of Igor Barreto will be in the race, however, in the number 80 machine. And Elijah Gordon here coming across the line. Going to be 41.824, so that is significantly slower than Ethan Lewis right there. Ethan Lewis still holding on to the pole position, but we'll have to see what Brennan Wilmington says about that in the number 79. Third driver in line, fastest driver in practice on Friday. Brennan Wilmington in the number 79, going to be his first ever Indianapolis 250, but as we mentioned yesterday and on Friday, won the Freedom 50 last year. Didn't win the Freedom 50, excuse me, finished second in the Freedom 50 to Landon Smith Jr., but if there were a couple more laps in that race, he would have won it. But driving the number 79, made famous in this series by Chase Harris 2 years ago, who won 5 races to win the championship. Of course, Brennan Williamson, this will be the only race he'll be in this season in the Haas IndyCar Series. But he's going to make the most of it, going for the pole here. 2:17 across the line, however, so this is going to be the 3rd slowest time so far. Ethan Lewis may very well end up winning this pole because, well, we tend to see the times in the Fast 9 Shootout tend to actually be slower than they are in the Last 9 Shootout. These guys don't push it as hard for the pole as they do to avoid elimination from the race. That's usually the trend in these qualifying sessions for the Indianapolis 250. And Ethan Lewis may very well end up winning the pole with a 6.76. But Brennan Wilmington will not be up there contending for the pole, but he will still start top 10 for this year's Indianapolis 250. Across the line, Brennan Wilmington, 41.913. Yeah, that was not a good time there out of Brennan Wilmington, but either way, he'll still be in the race regardless. Probably will start around the 9th position for Saturday's Indianapolis 250. Ace Garcia, next driver in line, another Indy 250 veteran. You wouldn't be surprised if he won the pole here. He could have a good shot at doing it. It'll be his 5th Indianapolis 250, best finish of 9th in this race. We still have 2 teammates in Saturday's race as well. Keith Kent made it in Last 9 Shootout, and then, of course, Nicholas Samadillo, the 2-time winner of this race. So Ace Garcia has some good teammates behind him right there. Looking to win this race for owner Christopher Altheby, who he himself has run this race before as well. 41.676 is the current pole time set by Ethan Lewis. Still 6 drivers left to go, however. I don't know about this one, though. This is looking like it's going to be a bit slower. Ace Garcia was 2:18 across the line. Did hit 2:20 there for just a little bit, but I think this is going to be below Elijah Gordon and ahead of Brennan Wilmington, right in between those 2 guys right there. You can usually tell based off of the speed going in the turn to number 1. He did hit 2:06 off the exit of turn number 2. Of course, remember, we have higher temperatures today, so the track is a lot slicker than it was yesterday, so these guys aren't quite going to hit the speeds that they did yesterday. Even though Cole Raymond was ready to go in that Last 9 Shootout, I'll tell you that much. 2:08 just barely for Ace Garcia off the exit of turn number 4, so across the line, Ace Garcia gonna clock in 41.854, right in between Elijah Gordon and Brennan Wilmington. Ethan Lewis still holds the pole. We'll have to see what the first ever winner on the channel can do to beat that, though. Jesse Turner next in line here in the Fast 9 Shootout. Here he comes, Jesse Turner in the number 38 for American Motorsports. American Motorsports is owned by Trey Wright. Trey Wright's development driver is Al Agassi. Al Agassi won the pole last year, so we'll have to see if that's a good omen for Jesse Turner here. It's not really been that good of a season for Turner in terms of the Haas IndyCar Series. Of course, won the Wawa Pro Series Championship a couple weeks ago at Darlington, but hasn't really seen much success so far this season in the Haas IndyCar Series. He could change all of that on Saturday with an Indy 250 win. It would arguably be the biggest win of his career if he could pull it off. He's got 24 career wins coming into this race as well, so we'll just have to see how it all goes down for Turner. Number 38 machine, though, not looking too fast here. It was 216 across the line, and he's going to maximize the 219, and he only held that for a little bit. This is going to be slower than Brennan Wilmington's time. But the good thing is, Jesse Turner's already in the race, and he'll be starting top 10 regardless. So Ethan Lewis still looking good here for this pole position. He's got Zack Winkle, John Andrews, Scott Upton, and then the fastest driver, Gary Carelei, in the 21. Of course, these guys keep on getting faster as the session goes along, at least in terms of yesterday's times, but so far they've generally been getting slower here in this Fast 9 shootout. Well, Turner will go across the line here, maybe at a 42.066. That is the slowest time we have seen out of anybody all weekend long. But never fear, Turner will still be in this year's Indianapolis 250. Zack Winkle, next driver in line in the number 28. Zack Winkle next in line. New team for Zack Winkle and Brock Nelson for that matter. Of course, Brock Nelson went in the last 9 shootout. He advanced on there. Zack Winkle, a good opportunity and maybe winning the pole for this Indianapolis 250, driving this number 28 machine. We'll have to see how well he can do here. He's got to beat a 41.676 in order to get that pole position, at least for now. But Ethan Lewis is the first driver to go out here in this Fast 9 shootout. He's been able to hold that fastest time so far. All these other guys have just been incredibly slower than the rest of the field. It's like that every year. The Fast 9 guys are slower than the last 9 guys. It never fails. Zack Winkle going to be across the line 219, though. This is going to be a bit faster. He's going to hit 221. This is going to have an opportunity at beating that 676 held by Ethan Lewis. This would be huge for James and Thal and this Thal Motorsports team. Their first race of the season going to be this Indianapolis 250. And they could end up with the Indy 250 pole with Zack Winkle. There's a past Thanksgiving 500 champion as well. That race plays out kind of like the Indy 250. A lot of drafting and a lot of pit strategy to be involved in that one. So Winkle knows how to get it done there. We'll have to see if he can join Nicholas Samadio as Thanksgiving 500 and Indy 250 champions. He's going to go 41.682. He doesn't quite have the pole, however. Ethan Lewis still holds on, but Zack Winkle will be starting at the lowest in the 5th position for this year's Indianapolis 250. Next guy in line, John Andrews in the number 75. Got 3 drivers left here in this Fast 9 shootout. Next driver in line, an Indy 250 only driver, but one who has been in this race 4 times in the past. This is John Andrews, teammate to Brennan Wilmington in Outer Island Motorsports. I just realized both of my cars ended up making it into the Fast 9. There's a reason why I didn't put my team in full time this year, because for some reason, especially that 79, they're just too good. It's just too OP. And trust me when I say the ratings are equal for everyone. It's always been that way. I don't know what it is. John Andrews is a very experienced driver, and he's picking up the speed fairly well here off the exit of turn number 1, but he's not going to be... Ooh, this is going to be close. He did hit 221. This is going to be close. I feel like this is going to be just below Zack Winkle's time, though. I don't think it's quite going to be as fast as Ethan Lewis, but either way, John Andrews is going to try in this number 75. We'll have to see how well John Andrews can do. His best finish in this Indy 250 came 2 years ago, a 6th place finish that year in 2020. He'd love to better that and get his Indianapolis 250 race victory. There's a minimum of 209 off the exit of turn number 4 across the line. I think it's going to be just below Winkle, and it will, I mean, that is about just below as you can get. 2/1000th of a second slower than Zack Winkle there. John Andrews goes to third quickest with 2 drivers left. Ethan Lewis still holding on to the pole position here for the Indianapolis 250. 2 drivers left, Scott Upton and Gary Carelei. Scott Upton won the pole for the California 100 back in February. And they're going to have a good opportunity in getting the other single car qualifying that we have done this year. They got to beat a 6.76 held by Ethan Lewis. And no one has been able to get to Lewis yet. It's been so close with Zack Winkle and John Andrews specifically, but just not enough for our defending Indianapolis 250 champion. Scott Upton, though, is going to have a good shot here for Collins Racing. They were really good. California, 219 across the line. They're going to hit 221. This is oh, they didn't hold it. They didn't hold it as long as they could have. And I think we're going to see a time just below John Andrews. Or maybe in between Zack Winkle and John Andrews. Who knows? It could be right in between the two of them right there. I do think this is going to be in between John Andrews and Elijah Gordon, though, for Scott Upton. It's going to be a good time, regardless. And if they qualify in between Andrews and Gordon, it's going to be at least a 5th place starting position for him. So Scott Upton's going to have a good shot here at the race victory on Saturday. Even though they won't win the pole, it'll be a 41.711. That will put them in the 4th position. 1 driver left. Gary Carelei, who was fastest yesterday in single car qualifications. Will he win the pole in his first ever start, or will Ethan Lewis, the defending Indy 250 champion, get it done here for 2022? And here we go. It's either going to be Gary Carelei in the number 21 or Ethan Lewis in the number 11 winning the pole for this year's Indianapolis 250. Will it be last year's Indy 250 champion or a first-timer driving for a first-time team? Going to be very interesting to see how it all goes down right here. And it's not that high of a bar either for Gary Carelei right here. 41.676. That's a pretty slow time, especially considering the times that we had in the last 9 shootout. So we'll have to see if Gary Carelei can, in fact, win the pole for the Indianapolis 250. Last year, Al Lagasse was the fastest in single-car qualifications and then fastest in the Fast 9 shootout. We'll have to see if Gary Carelei can do the same thing that Al Lagasse did last year. Zack Winkle, John Andrews, Scott Upton, Elijah Gordon, Ace Garcia, Brennan Wilmington, and Jesse Turner. The order right now, which all of these drivers will receive championship points. Ethan Lewis hoping he gets 10 championship points. And Gary Carelei just hoping that he can win the pole. We'll have to see how well he can do. The number 21 with a great opportunity here at Indianapolis in his first ever start on the channel to jump right into victory lane. If he wins the pole, he's going to have a good shot at winning the race on Saturday. There's not much else to talk about this guy. He's never made a start before on the channel. And he's going against a lot of these guys who have a ton of experience, including the first ever winner on the channel, Jesse Turner. Of course, Turner was the slowest here in this Fast 9 shootout. The only time to go under, or should I say over, 42 seconds. Carelei, 218 across the line. He's not going to hit 221. I think it's safe to say right now that Ethan Lewis has won the pole for the Indianapolis 250. Gary Carelei just couldn't quite hold it right there. He's 207 off the exit of turn number 2. So he might be picking up the speed just a little bit right now, but this number 21 going to have an opportunity here. Minimum of 210 off the exit at turn number 3. We'll have to see what his speed is here. He is going to hold it at 209. I don't know. He may get it here. It's a 676. He needs to beat 770. That's not enough. Ethan Lewis has won the pole for the Indianapolis 250. Gary Carelei will start in the 5th position, but the defending Indianapolis 250 champion will be leading the field of the green flag on Saturday in the 9th running of this great race. And that will do it here for Indy 250 qualifying in 2022. Ethan Lewis has won the pole for the Indianapolis 250. He'll start alongside Zack Winkle there on the front row for the big race on Saturday. The next event that we're going to have is Carb Day practice on Friday, and then Saturday at noon Eastern Time, it is the big race. Ethan Lewis with the pole. He'll get 10 championship points for that. Zack Winkle will get 9 championship points. John Anders and Scott Upton, 8 and 7 points respectively. They'll make up row number 2. Gary Carelli and Elijah Gordon, they'll get 6 and 5 points respectively. They make up row number 3. Ace Garcia, Brennan Wilmington will get 4 and 3 points respectively. They make up row number 4. Jesse Turner and Colin Cropley make up row number 5. They'll get 2 and 1 point respectively each. And then in row number 6, it's Reggie Fogelman and Zachary Fitzwater. Angel Olvera and Nicholas Amadio in row number 7. Landon Smith Jr. and Joey Hightower in row number 8. Will Parrish and Brian Rodriguez in row number 9. Logan Williams and Caleb Rose in row number 10. Jay Knapp and Thomas Troxel in row number 11. Noah Clifton, Roy Ribbleton in row number 12. Nathan Faden and Max Anderson. Anderson starting in the position that Ethan Lewis did last year. That'll be row 13. Brandon Nelson will be starting alongside the number 95 of Cole Raymond in row 14. Row 15 will see Keith Kent and Brock Nelson. Row 16 is Igor Barreto and Trey Smith. And then in the final row, all by himself, Eric Monaco in the 33rd starting position. Failing to qualify for the Indianapolis 250 will be Justin Zajdel, Richard Kinghart, and Chris Reynolds. Well, that was a fun session and a fun weekend here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ethan Lewis wins the pole for the Indianapolis 250, and he will lead the field of the green flag for 100 laps this Saturday at noon Eastern Time right here on AG the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun doing this once again, and I am reminded why I only do this once a year. Because single car qualifying in NR takes a long time. Took about maybe 5 hours just doing the recording. I still got to edit all of this. Of course, you guys have already seen all the editing procedures, but this takes, the qualifying takes a lot more time and effort than the actual race itself. But hey, glad you guys enjoyed it, and glad to see the defending Indianapolis 250 champion leading the field to the green flag for this year's Indianapolis 250. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Ethan Lewis for winning the pole, and we will see you guys on Friday for Carb Day practice and Saturday for the 2022 NR2003 Indianapolis 250. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. We'll try to do better the next time, and I will see you guys later.